This one, just want to shout out the Lunar Stream. They also have one match tonight, a contender matchup. So be sure you've got both streams up and running so you can catch all of this RSC action. With that out of the way, my name is HUDX. I have with me here in the booth KG Fan, and we've got a challenger matchup here, Shinigami and Dark Mary. KG, I'm excited to get into this one with you.
Yes, me too. This is definitely going to be an interesting matchup, and they're in the same division, and we've got the #1 team in Chally, I believe. This is going to be good.
It is going to be a good one. It's not one with a ton of playoff implications for at least one of these teams. As we just said, Dark Mary, the top of the Lunar division for the challenger tier, but their opponents, the Shinigami, are still scrapping to really make sure they've solidified themselves a playoff spot, a wild card spot. We're going to take a look at those team stats here on screen. And these two teams, two very successful teams throughout the course of the season, KG, but Dark Mary have had just that extra leg up.
Yes, that defense is what I'm looking forward to. I would like to see, because you can obviously see that both offenses are pretty darn good. The shooting is pretty on par. It's the goals against. Dark Mary and Seas Despair, they have apparently got something going on in the defense where they do not give it up. So this is what I'm looking forward to see if they can hold it up, and if the entire 4 games is Dark Mary's to have, or if Shinigami can get it right by him.
Yeah, the equal saves against number is an interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that number be exactly the same for two teams in a matchup this late into the season. So interesting little thing. But yeah, absolutely. Two very evenly matched teams, but a pretty big gap in record between the two of them. 8 wins separating these two teams in first place in Lunar to the first wild card, which is where Shinigami sits right now. But with that being said, that 30-22 record for them in that wild card hunt, they are actually on the outside looking in. If they were to get 0-4 swept tonight by Dark Mary, they would be out of the playoff picture with one match day left. That is how tight it is in the Lunar Challenger playoff hunt. So Shinigami is going to be looking to have a good result here. Dark Mary could play spoiler. They've got really nothing. Like, they've got first seed locked up for Lunar. So at this point tonight, all they're looking to do is pad that stat a little bit and maybe ruin Shinigami's run through the rest of the season. But we can take a look at these players for both of these teams as we're approaching our start time here. We'll do a quick rundown our lineups, 4 players on each team. And Shinigami's going to be in the blue tonight. Nazi, Marioc, Tree Frog, and ZC Gentry. Names that are familiar around the league. Tree Frog has been in the league since it started. Marioc's been around for a while too, so definitely a team that knows their way around this league. And then their opponents, the #1 seed for the evening, Dark Mary, Griffin, Blizzy, Zar235, and Crack Dragon. And KG, you were telling me before we started here, you've got a couple players that you've got your eyes on.
Yes, Nazi has got some good stats on him. Definitely, I believe, in top 10 in a few stats, but Blizzy is #1 in playmakers and assists and challenger. So you definitely know Blizzy's all over the field and feeding the teammates, and the teammates gotta love that.
Yeah, definitely easy when you know who you can look to be that spark for your team, and pretty easy to at least take a whack at who we're going to see on the field. Nazi, Marioc, and Tree Frog, most likely the players for Shinigami, and then Griffin, Blizzy, and Zar probably are going to be the ones that will represent Dark Mary. But we're just about ready to have players hit the pitch. Once they join in, we'll be ready to get into our matches here. We've got 4 games guaranteed regardless of outcome. So you know that we're at least going to get we're definitely going to get, there is no at least, all the way through 4 games. So one of the nice parts about RSC is that we're guaranteed those 4-game series, but these are all crunch time games for Shinigami. We're going to put 5 minutes on the clock. And here in game #1, Shinigami trying to continue their lives in the playoffs here, the hunt for the playoffs. Dark Mary just looking to close out their season on a high note.
Yes, I'm thinking that Shinigami really... I'm hoping after this first game we'll find out, if Shinigami has the mentality going on right now. A little bit of a miss hit from Tree Frog right there. So this is the early game jitters. Both teams are feeling each other out. I believe they've played each other before. It's got to be my assumption, at least in scrims in some way. So they definitely know each other. But when it comes to the playoffs and trying to make it the the tensions start to run high. You start to tense up a little bit, and I'd like to see if they have a little bit of the relaxed attitude. And yeah, let's see what happens. Nice save right there by Marriott.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the nerves coming into this are something that are going to have to be considered as Czar finally manages to get a team on the board. It is Dark Mary that finds goal number 1 here inside the first minute. Czar just jams this one home. Blizzy maybe running a little bit of interference on Tree Frog, but finally we break open. It's right at the caster switch like it's supposed to be. I can't do math. 43 seconds, 53 seconds in, and it's just been 60 seconds. We're just going to say a minute. If I had just waited, we would have been fine. A minute into game number 1, it is Dark Mary that have that lead. And KG, we're through the opening stages of this one, kind of getting those the beginning game jitters out. Shinigami, they've let one in, but it's not quite looked like anybody's really taken the front foot yet. Who are you expecting to really come out of this now that we've seen like the first 60, 70 seconds?
I do like Dark Mary right now because a lot of their touches have been a little bit more clean. If the Shinigami can handle the ball a little bit better and not get those touches, because some of those, like Marriott right there, I don't feel like that was the touch they wanted. Tree Frog has hit a few balls backwards, so if they can shore up those hits, I really think that this game's going to turn around. If they can't, Dark Mary is going to come over with it easily. Nazi with a nice save right there because Czar was coming in on a tear to try to get that one. Blizzy centering it, nobody there, and the 50 by Griffin keeping it in. So like I said, Dark Mary definitely has a little bit more of the attack and shot on goal. And yeah, I would like to see what you think too.
Yeah, Griffin looking good there. It's definitely been tilted towards Dark Mary so far in this first game. They've had a lot of the offense, and the offense for Shinigami has been a lot of that dump and chase that becomes very prevalent at this like C1 range that Challenger exists in. So everything looking kind of as we would have expected, I think, through the first half of this game number 1, and it has been that offensive pressure that has really kept Shinigami from being able to get forward. But here, Nazi looking for Marriott on the outlet pass. Marriott can't quite connect. Blizzy with a long clear into space. Czar on the end of it. Tree Frog can't get there in time. And a quick 1-2 punch on the counter is going to double the lead for the Dark Mary.
Yeah, I definitely half expected Blizzy to come in, and I think that's kind of threw them off a little bit, slowed them down. Turned away. Czar came in with a very nice hit. Those are hits that make me jealous because I can't usually make those hits, and I like seeing goals that go in that fast.
Yeah, finding that angle to be able to get it. The most power on the shot is an underappreciated mechanic, I think, in Rocket League. One that does not get the love that it needs, but Blizzy is going to show someone that is becoming more and more of the meta these days. It started out with everybody trying to get everything higher up. Blizzy is going to cut it down to the ground. A nice little juke there with a handbrake to get around one. Beats Tree Frog to the far side. And that is a third here for the Dark Mary. They've really started to put their stamp on this game number 1. They have held Shinigami to a single shot through 3 minutes.
Yeah, Shinigami definitely looks a little apprehensive. They aren't really going for the balls that maybe they need to. Maybe put a little bit more challenge on that. Also, take a little, take a little time. Think about what you're going to do next, because some of these touches are not what they're looking for, and I'm really going to harp on it because I think they've got a lot more in the tank. This is game 1. There's plenty of opportunity, and losing 3-0 is the same as losing 1-0. So I don't see too much, but as they slow it down, ooh, nice try right there. Nazi couldn't get it away from Czar, and Marriott just getting there in time. This is a dangerous one as well, and Czar hitting it the opposite side.
Yeah, I think another thing that we're gonna have to start watching is not Proud Mary. That's not quite the reference we're going for here. Dark Mary is they are just a little bit faster than Shinigami right now, which is going to lead to them really taking control of the boost game. If this pace, the pace difference really starts to ratchet up throughout this series, it's going to be down to Shinigami to make sure they're securing their own corner boost as Nazi tries to get Czar flat-footed there in the net, but Czar with some nice reaction time there off of his back line. 45 seconds left, and really looking like Dark Mary's probably going to take this game number 1 as the offense for Shinigami gets themselves crossed up a little bit. They've managed to put 3 shots on net, but I really can't say that any of them have been super threatening at this point.
I'd agree, but I do like the fact that they are pushing the ball a little bit better. Ooh, that was a nice hit. Tree Frog just couldn't get back in time as Czar with a decent hit up the side, and Nazi just couldn't quite make that play. But I still do like the giddy up that they had in the last minute that we saw, because it definitely kept Dark Mary on their toes a little bit. And, you know, if they can keep doing that, which is what Dark Mary's doing to them, this is going to even it out. But 4-0, under 20 seconds left. Now you play for a little bit of pride and worry about the next game.
Yeah, at this point, you really just kind of have to have a short memory, look forward to the next one. And if you are Shinigami, you need some wins. Getting swept out of this series is not a good look for their prospects of playoff berthing. So important for them to find at least 1 or 2 wins in this series. They're not going to do it here in game number 1. Dark Mary, a wire-to-wire 4-0 finish for game number 1, and it was a shooting clinic for Dark Mary. 13 shots on frame, only 4 for Shinigami, and I think 3 of those came in the last 60 seconds and change.
Yes, and that's where that's the kind of why I liked seeing it. They put those up, and if they can keep it up, and you know, I think that last goal, Tree Frog on his way back, just not able to get there in time. It was a really, really well hit ball. And I believe we're doing a remake right now. Everybody is getting out, so just give us a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a change in server.
Important to get everybody on level playing field here, so we'll get them into a new server. But as we were getting through the end of that game number 1, KG, I pulled up the head-to-heads for the rest of the season so far for Challenger. When Shinigami and Dark Mary met, it was match day 4. Do you want to take a whack at what that series score is when they played each other before? Just take a guess.
1-3, Dark Mary.
2-2 split when they were matched up in the early stages of the season, and now 10 match days later, so it's been like 2 months or so since the beginning of the season. So it has been, I mean, obviously we're only through game number 1, so I'm remembering that I'm not in the party. I'm sitting here waiting to be pulled into the lobby, and I'm not in the party, joining the server now. As we're sitting here watching this game number 1, having that knowledge that the last time these two teams met, it was a 2-2, like a 2-2 split. Part of me feels like Shinigami maybe got off to a slow start there in game number 1, because Dark Mary ran circles around them,
especially in the first 3-4 minutes of the game.
The vast majority of game 1.
Yes, and then I Shinigami making sure that they again in the beginning, that's where I thought some of those hits, some of those touches, they obviously weren't where they wanted them, and slowing it down but speeding it up at the same time. I mean, slowing down your gameplay but speeding up your thought process, I guess, is how I think that they need to come at it, because once they knew what they were doing, they really did hammer at Dark Mary with a couple of those shots, and they kept it in the zone, and that's what you need to do. You need to keep it in the zone of the opposite team defense, of course.
Yeah, it's just important to be able to take that territory. You just need to put yourself in that space more to really be able to put any kind of pressure on the other team. So even if it's not necessarily with possession, just being up, having a man up that far is a pretty good way to at least make the other team think for a moment about their touches. Yes. And it's gonna be it's really gonna be coming down to if Dark Mary can continue that form that we saw in game number 1, or if Shinigami is going to be able to bounce back and, just continue to maybe take a little bit more of that space, find some more of the shooting opportunities like we saw them do at the end of game number 1. I think we've got everybody in the lobby. I could be mistaken. I thought I saw 6 other players, but the state of Rocket League right now makes it really hard for us to tell.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we've got everybody here. They're just hiding. We just can't tell that they're here. So we've got 6 players in. We're gonna put another 5 minutes on the clock, and it's a 1-0 series right now for Dark Mary. We're guaranteed to see the rest of them, as Blizzy almost gets it going in the first 10 seconds for Dark Mary. It's gonna be Czar instead, puts it wide. Tree Frog there to at least take up some space, but Dark Mary immediately on the front foot.
Yeah, and even though they're on the front foot, I can actually see Shinigami being a little bit faster. They were a little, they definitely were a little apprehensive in that first game. The first game when they came out off the kickoff, all three of them stayed on the back wall. This time, people came up. Now look at that, almost a double commit between Marioc and Treefrog. So definitely playing a little bit more aggressive. And I think this game is definitely going to be a little bit different, especially if they can nail their shots and nail their touches.
Yeah, it's a really at this point we've seen the foundations of it be there for Shinigami, just not quite come together yet, but all it takes is one touch for that to change. As Treefrog's going to turn at midfield. He grabbed that mid boost. Can he find another touch? Can't get it over Blizzy cleanly, but we'll still have another whack at it. It's going to be Nazi instead. Treefrog the demo. Marioc coming in, and the shot will be saved away by Blizzy. Marioc just couldn't get there in time. The first minute has elapsed here in game, and number 2 still 0-0. Was around this point in the game prior that Dark Mary scored their first goal. So Shinigami's going to be looking to try to find that first strike in this game, number 2, as they continue to scrap for that playoff spot. It's going to be Marioc, defended by Blizzy, out to the center for Nazi, who will have a go. Not really going to challenge the defense too much. Czar pushes it away pretty cleanly. And while Shinigami have found more offense in this game, number 2, it doesn't particularly matter, because on Dark Mary's third shot of the game, they break it open 1-0.
I'm not sure what business Blizzy had in the territory was, but bumping Treefrog got that goal in there. Great job. I give Blizzy the goal. Most of that, even though, the stats aren't going to show it. And that, the second time Blizzy's taken a kickoff that was a 50 that went straight towards the opposite goal. So while I think the Shinigami are doing a much better job so far, and I still think that they got plenty of opportunity here, as Nazi takes this ball, is going to try to get around Czar, it doesn't. I still think they have a lot more pep in their step, and I'm loving the change in gameplay and the aggressiveness as that, even though it's a 1-0 game, I still think their aggressiveness is putting Dark Mary a little bit on their heels, just a little bit.
Yeah, they're definitely still keeping themselves in the back of the mind of Dark Mary here in game number 2, not letting them run away from it. Treefrog up here to pressure Blizzy on the back wall. It's an opportunity for Nazi with a shot. Tree was trying to find some interference. Nazi looks to go back post and can't find it. Nobody's in goal. Blizzy's been bumped, but Tree had to turn around for that mid boost. Couldn't quite get on the ball in time for the shot. Marioc instead denied by Czar, and that first man defense from Dark Mary has kept them firmly in this series. Every time there's a shot opportunity for Shinigami, there's always somebody there to 50 it. Nazi will take this one up over the backboard on a wild pinch. Marioc can't find the shot. Nobody's there to support, and Blizzy will have the clear.
Oh, that's not a very... actually, it ends up going right into Nazi's bumper, so it was a little bit of a hit I don't think they wanted. Nazi's going to try to take this up. The Czar doesn't take it, so that's going to be a 51 by Nazi. This ball's going to fall down. Blizzy missing it, but Griffin there, and no one on offense to take it, so their aggressiveness didn't really come into fruition there. Treefrog trying to get it down the field, but gives it right to Czar, who gets it opposite side. That's going to go wide. Blizzy keeping it in, and Treefrog settling this down, almost getting sandwiched by Blizzy and Czar. Nazi hitting it up in the air and giving it right back to Blizzy. So unfortunately, while I like their defense right now, a lot of these touches aren't they're sort of playing volleyball, giving the ball right back, and they need to try to make a play and keep it with themselves and make Dark Mary react to them instead of the ball.
I absolutely agree. At this point, it's just the touches that are going to space instead of somewhere with intention for Shinigami, and it's really making their offensive attack non-existent, as every touch is pretty much received by an orange card. Blizzy's got a good look there. Dunked away by Marioc. Treefrog just barely nudged off of his line by Nazi, falling from the ceiling. Can't find it. A couple of defenders are there. Nazi's going to pop this one out to the center, but because Treefrog's so far up, Marioc cannot be comfortable committing there. Tree will bail out as Blizzy takes over. He's got Nazi in his face. Treefrog up, shot wide. Under 30 seconds left here in game number 2. Still no goals on the board for Shinigami in 2 games now. They're still being held scoreless by Dark Mary. And now with 15 seconds left, they've got just a little bit more time. Nazi the flick. Czar an easy stop off the backboard. Well defended, well positioned by all 3 players for Dark Mary. That puts Shinigami on the back foot, and Blizzy walks it in for the dagger. 4 seconds left. Game 2 looking like it's going to be Dark Mary's as well.
Yes, I 100% agree. 4 seconds, you got to have a little bit of a miracle kickoff goal and almost a miracle kickoff goal again. So
Yeah.
I do again love Shinigami's gameplay this time. They maybe close some gaps in their defense here, but I don't know. This could be a good last 2 games. Even though Dark Mary is their defense, that was it.
Yeah.
They really are keeping it in. I know it's 2 saves or 3 saves and 6 shots, but they're able to make sure that Shinigami was on their side of the field a lot. So I don't know. Dark Mary has a great defense, and that's going to be really big in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, 100% shots accounted for from Dark Mary, 6 shots from Shinigami. They've saved all 6. So literally every shot that came off of a blue car was immediately defended by Dark Mary, because I would say of those 6, 4 of them were like point of contact, like hand in the face of the shooter saves. It wasn't last second goal line saves. It was very much a preemptive, just a really good 50s that are credited as saves from Dark Mary. So it's really them getting out, closing off those angles, especially the shooting angles, and taking every real opportunity away from Shinigami, and then being able to strike and generate their own. They had 6 shots on their own side. So Dark Mary being able to get it done on both ends of the field, and that is really the defining factor for Shinigami. It looked decent. If there's one thing that I could say Shinigami could tighten up here in game number 3, the back half of this series, just got to clean the rotations up, offensive and defensive. I saw a couple of times where they just got tangled up in their own tires, and if they can tighten those defensive rotations up, I think that'll give them a better opportunity on the offensive breakout. But it is up to them to show us what they've got. Another 5 minutes on the board. We're halfway through this series, and both wins currently belonging to Dark Mary. Does Shinigami have what it takes to be able to win at least one of these? They've got to keep their playoff hopes alive. It's not done. They're not entirely done if they don't win, but chances become slimmer if they can't find a couple here over these last 2 games. Blizzy's going to take this one in all the way across. Nobody gets a hand on the ball, so Blizzy can just pinch it in.
I thought I was complimenting Blizzy when I said most assists and most playmakers, and I think he's trying to take over the top spot for goals as well. He's doing a fantastic job on offense, and if you've got a guy who has that many assists start scoring goals,
Yeah, it is definitely not what Shinigami would like to be seeing right now. If the person that you've game planned for being the catalyst for 2 other strikers starts doing the striking, I think is a pretty good way to put it there, KG. But there is still opportunity for Shinigami to get something going. They've really not had anything going for them here in game number 3, but in their defense, neither has Dark Mary. It's really just that 1 goal from Blizzy, completely unassisted, as Nazi tries to chip this one back to Marioc, who won't go. Gets 2 to jump, though. Redirects this. Tree Frog up. Zara into his face, but still dangerous as it drops in, and Marioc's going to put it through. The first goal for Shinigami is going to tie us up here in game 3.
I have to Zar with an absolutely excellent save, but unfortunately it lands right in front. So it is what it is. But that was a great jump, great read. Dark Mary though 1-1, and nice win right there again by. I consider that these wins, because that is wide, should have probably gone in. A little bit dangerous. They need to be careful here. Tree Frog moving his way up, centered by Griffin, right to Marioc, who actually gives it right back, unfortunately. And now the rotation's a little off, and luckily Shinigami got away with one right there, because they could have pushed that ball forward and maybe put a little bit of pressure on. This ball's going to be centered. Blizzy's going to hit it out. They're going to actually win this one. Can Blizzy touch it? No, Griffin can't touch it. Nobody's touching it. And that's going to fall and roll harmlessly opposite side. So Nazi trying to keep it, getting bumped away. That ball gets hit off of Griffin's car, trying to center it, but Blizzy in the way, and continuing to be said. The word Blizzy has been said a little bit too much often. I think somebody else needs to step up just a little bit more, because they're all over the place.
Yeah, it's been a couple weird looks downfield for Dark Mary where they've had the ball in a striking position and then they kind of give it away. This is another one. Nazi will be there, but he shoots it right at Griffin, who was sticking to the back post. Well positioned there by Griffin. And an opportunity for Shinigami that's going to go by the wayside. Team bump between Nazi and Marioc. Nazi's got a stretch, but now a dangerous spot as Blizzy lurks. Marioc hits the 50. Czar keeps it in this blue end. Dark Mary looking to find the go-ahead goal here halfway through game number 3. Czar can't find that one off the corner. Nazi will wrap it around all the way to the ceiling. Tree Frog waves at it. Blizzy will play it to midfield. Marioc just waiting, plays it into a little bit of space to give teammates a moment to rotate into position. But absorbing a lot of pressure here is Shinigami. They're really content to kind of sit back and not get that hand in the face of the impending offense of Dark Mary. And that has really led them to some awkward positions just like that one. And Dark Mary are going to jam that one down your throat every day of the week. 2-1 for Dark Mary.
And there's Blizzy again, setting it up, and I have to say, I think he bumped Tree Frog in the middle, and it made Tree Frog take a little bit too much time getting back, so Blizzy definitely a little bit of an all-around at this very moment. Nazi with a nice demo. Tree Frog trying to keep it in, can't get it, gives it right to Blizzy, who's going to get it around Marioc, and going for a demo, doesn't get it. Nazi able to stop it in the front post. Very nice job right there. Marioc hitting that down and getting it away, but Griffin keeping it right in. Great rotations by Dark Mary right now. Tree Frog missing that one, but unfortunately Griffin not able to do anything. Ooh, Marioc demoed for their troubles. Nazi can't get it around Czar. This is dangerous. No. Marioc, can they get back? They do off of that demo. And I think Dark Mary definitely putting on a little bit too much pressure here for Shinigami to miss hits and not take advantage. Although this is a great take advantage. Nobody back? What happened?
That's exactly what Shinigami needs to do. Dark Mary's thrown everybody forward. Blizzy just a little bit too eager as third man, and finally Shinigami break through and punish one of those poor rotations from Dark Mary. We've seen a lot of it go the other way, but this time it is in favor of the blue side. And with 60 seconds left here in game number 3, this is the closest this game has been, this series has been this late in a game. So an opportunity here for Shinigami to be able to take one home. Blizzy playing permanent keeper there, as that one was shot pretty much straight at him for Tree Frog. Hustling back, Marioc just barely got over top of that bump attempt. And he's going to get it out around Griffin as well. Blizzy will cut it at the midfield. Tree Frog can't get the strong 50. Blizzy still in attack mode here to the frame, and Marioc puts it high. 2 more people up. Nazi's got to push it wide. 2 players shooting that one past them. 30 seconds left on the clock, and Dark Mary are threatening here, trying to keep this from being another OT.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, Blizzy's been on fire right there, and there it is again, the 50s. In this game, these games, not this game only, Blizzy has had an insane amount of winnable 150s that have led to those types of plays, whether it's a goal or a chance at a goal. A lot of his plays have been wins, and I don't know, that's I feel like an underrated skill, and it's definitely led to this 3-2 game. Nice save by Marioc as the rotation gave him the chance to rotate. Still enough time here, but Griffin almost getting it into there. They have a chance here. Czar's going to try to clear it back. Marioc trying to get in front, gets that touch, but not the touch they're looking for, and that's going to end it. And we have a 3-0 series lead for Dark Mary.
Yeah, Shinigami really just couldn't quite. They didn't have the answer for Blizzy, I think, more than anybody else. Blizzy didn't quite get the cycle, which is a shocker to me. Just didn't have a save, but was all over the pitch pretty much at every turn. Blizzy was there, and like you said, KG, we were calling his name a ton through the course of that game number 3. It's so tough for Shinigami because I mean, Marioc had the best game in the server, like 613 points, and still can't pull that win out because Dark Mary just get it done all the way at the very end. But I wish that we could get a replay of that last goal because it was a fantastic little piece of communication. Blizzy calls Griffin off as Griffin is coming into the corner. Blizzy takes the shot to the backboard, and Griffin is right there for the finish. So Dark Mary really looking like they are locked in all the way as far as their striking goes, and Shinigami just has not been able to find that defensive answer. But even in that breath, they had 7 saves in that game. So they haven't been able to find the defensive answer, but they're still putting up 7 saves. It is the 11 shots that Dark Mary was taking that really kind of negated that defensive effort.
Yes, and again, both teams firing so many shots on goal. The only difference was the fact that Dark Mary has a much better defense. The stats say it too, but now we're watching the game say it as well. As I'm looking for Tree Frog to make a plays here. Nice try right there. Tree Frog, in my opinion, has had a few tough hits, tough touches, and I look to see Tree Frog try to be a little bit more focused and make a couple more better hits because so far they've had a rough series.
And I think that Tree's somebody that you should call out. I think that if there's anybody to call out, because I'm sure he really, really loves it, call out admin Tree Frog. But that's okay. He assumes that when they sign up to play on stream, and he's actually had what I think is the best start of the game. Marioch's got to put that one away. That's literally the entire net to shoot at, and puts it wide. That is a backbreaker for Shinigami. We're going to have to see if they can't shrug that off here in the beginnings of game number 4, because they could have a 1-goal lead, and instead they're at 0-0, and Dark Mary is always pushing.
Yes, and that right there, you want back, but you have to forget about it. There's under 4 minutes to go. Nobody's scored, and a nice push right there. Give him a little bit of time. It's a little bit of a 2v1, but everybody will get back, and nobody will hit the wild ball coming out of the corner. Czar trying to get a shot. Marioch turning on it, just getting a touch. Blizzy's right there. Got to be careful, Blizzy, at all time. Tree Frog up to Marioch, who just misses it. Griffin touching it towards her own goal, though. Double commit, and that is going to get deflected out. And wow, Shinigami has had some definite opportunities as this ball goes off the side, and Marioch can't get to it. Griffin's touch doesn't make it. And my goodness, this has been quite the back and forth.
Yeah, both teams having opportunities go off the woodwork and just not quite able to dial it in. Find the back of the net as Griffin puts one across, and Blizzy this time is going to be on the end of a pass instead of generating the offense. Griffin with a masterful infield flick, and Blizzy buries the finish under the crossbar. Just about 2 minutes gone, and again on a caster switch, Dark Mary finds their first goal of the game, and what could potentially be the goal that clinches them this 4-0 sweep if they can keep Shinigami off the scoreboard. Shinigami being held to 2 total goals over the course of this series, and Dark Mary is just continuing to find ways to put the ball in the back of the net. Blizzy with a redirect, a double demo in the middle of the field. Nazi will be there for the save on Blizzy, but would have surely been a highlight reel goal for Blizzy if that had found the back of the net, but it's going to be Marioch instead. A cutting pass through the center of the field. Nazi had already turned back, so wasn't there to receive, but he's going to pick that one out instead. And 2 seconds after halftime, we've got an equal ball game as Nazi snipes this one in from the left side.
Yeah, Blizzy trying to throw that ball a little past him, hits the corner, bumps down, and a nice read. Getting it down there. That's a tough little read for a lot of people to make, especially when the ball hits off the corner. And hey, take those. Nazi getting that one from Blizzy, who was coming in hot, and ball deflecting off of Griffin. A double commit by Tree Frog and Nazi right there, not really telling each other where they want to go. Czar flicking it over Marioch. Has a chance here. Pass to Blizzy, and that's going to be wide left off of the pinch. I think that right there was done on purpose. Nazi to Tree Frog, although it gets hit by Czar. Blizzy in there, but no, Czar's going to take it instead. Nobody back. And I think, again, a little bit of miscommunication here, as I think everybody was almost nobody in the back third.
Yeah, and I think maybe that pass wasn't quite intended for Tree Frog. Might have been out to Marioch, or even just the sidewall from Nazi, and instead gets popped right back into the teeth of the Dark Mary forecheck, and that is a go-ahead goal for Dark Mary, as again they look to find those quick bang-bang centering passes. That one just a little bit wide. Griffin will play it out to Blizzy, who smartly turns his last man, going to protect this 2-1 lead for the last minute and a half or so. An opportunity from Nazi will be saved by Blizzy. Czar is going to have a touch off the backboard. It bounces right in front of Nazi, and Marriott, after taking out the last defender for Tree Frog, but Tree Frog could not find the shot. It will be Nazi, puts one vaguely in the direction of goal, really not too threatening. Leaving it for Tree Frog. Griffin slaps it back to midfield. Nazi takes a step. I think I would rather see Nazi just go for it, as that one's pinched away off the crossbar by Blizzy. And if you're Shinigami, you're getting to the point where you just got to pull the trigger when you got an opportunity to shoot. No nice more demo. Of this ticky-tacky looking for the best shot. You're running out of time. You've got to score. Take these shots when you've got them.
Yes, and Nazi going back to get that corner boost might have... There was a demo by Marriott and it didn't really come to fruition. I got to think that maybe Nazi could have maybe stayed up, and they really do need to stay up. Marriott with a deflection, not looking forward to that one. That's going to go opposite side for Blizzy off the corner. Tree Frog trying to take control, does take control, can't get it around Griffin. Marriott not able to get there with a demo in the back end, and that's going to sit there. Marriott centering it to Blizzy, definitely not the touch they wanted, and unfortunately it's the touch they got.
Blizzy was just waiting for this too. He saw Marriott come across. He slammed on his brakes at the edge of the arc and was like, all right, looks like he's going to pass it to me. So I guess I'll just sit here and wait for the ball to roll out in front of me for this beginner training pack shot. He smacks it in, and it's a 3-1 lead for Dark Mary. And it's looking less and less likely that there's going to be a win here for Shinigami, which is a crushing blow to their playoff hopes. Dark Mary very much looking like they're going to take this in a 4-0 sweep. Another shot pushed aside by Dark Mary's defense. I mean, Shinigami was shooting at an open goal there, and somehow Dark Mary still were able to get back and make a save. Everybody's going. Blizzy to the backboard for Czar. Griffin's defending, and just as the time winds down, it is going to be Dark Mary. After splitting the first meeting 2-2, Dark Mary is going to take this second one in 4.
Yes, I have to... Shinigami put up a darn decent fight. First game, not so much. That was a little bit of a rough one, but they definitely put it to Dark Mary at the end. But that defense, man, Dark Mary, I have to imagine they must calm well. They definitely rotate very well. That is a decent clinic in what you should be doing. And their aggressiveness, it shined. So, like, offense, defense shows why they are number one.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely look like a number 1 seed playing here tonight. Not a lot of mistakes. Lots of really great things on all ends of the pitch for Dark Mary. Obviously, they get that 4-0 sweep, which really just continues to pad their spot at the top of the Lunar standings. Meanwhile, for Shinigami, after dropping that one 0-4, they move to 30-26, and by the hair on their chin, they are 1 game in the playoffs currently. 1 game ahead of Baba Yaga, who is the next team. The first team out, Shinigami sits as the last team in the Lunar wild card race here. So with 1 matchup left next week, take a look here real quick, breaking it down as we've closing down the season for this Season 14 Challenger tier. Shinigami facing off against Zombies next week. And Zombies are a team closer to the bottom of the table. So still an opportunity for Shinigami to control their own destiny. Their magic number is 4, so if they 4-0 sweep, they guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs, but they could still have that spot if they don't win 4 games. It just might depend on what other people's results are. So next Wednesday, I think, because we've only got this 1 matchup here, I think Wednesday starts our